It is always great chatting with my next guest, Miles Johns, who's going to be back in action against John Castañeda, UFC Fight Night, February 5th. It's almost around the corner here. Miles, how are you? Live on location from Fortis MMA. I love it.
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. Just got some work in, some work during the day, and got practice later. So I'm feeling good, man. Everything's all the gears are turning. So yeah.
Before we talk about you, someone I know I always bring up in our interviews is your brother, Elijah, picking up a win last week in LFA. How close is he to getting to the UFC, Miles? You know better than any of us. He got another win here.
Yeah, I think he's close. I think he's definitely ready for the Contender Series. I was happy with that win. He did the job. He did his job. We had a game plan, and my coach, Coach Safe, really wanted him to stick to that game plan, and he did that. He kind of wanted to open up with some more things, but we wanted to see that he could stick to a game plan for the whole time, and so I'm happy to see that. I think a Contender this coming summer will be good timing for him.
Yeah, no, it kind of works out really well. And, before we talk about your fight, I think we've talked about this before. What's it been like, seeing your brother, seeing all these up and comers in Fortis? It was you guys initially who sort of made the push to get in the UFC. Now you've got, your brother, you got Fernie, you've got all these different guys that are really on the come up right now. How has that been for you just as a fighter, seeing sort of this new wave come through?
It's really nice. It honestly just feels kind of normal. Like it's a normal procedure now, like you win a lot of fights in LFA, you go to the Contender Series, you do your job there, you win, you take the guy out, and then you get into the UFC. And then the part that I'm looking mostly at right now is the highest level of the UFC. Like when we start fighting these guys in the top 15, top 10, how are we doing? And that's where I'm setting my mind at. Everybody, it's a little tougher for those guys behind us because they did grow up with us. And so the only level they know is really high level. And some of these OGs really paved the way for me and some of the guys coming up. But at the same time, yeah, it's so we expect you to do your job. Like if you're fighting in LFA, we expect you to win. If you're fighting on a Contender Series, we expect you to win and get the finish, really. So it's tough for them. They probably got some pressure on them with that. But it's just the way it is. We need some belts around here. So, and I know we got the level to do it. So.
We haven't spoken since your last fight, which was incredible. Another finish. How satisfying was that? Because I know, again, you wanted to kind of remind this division, hey, I'm still around here. You got to be keeping an eye out.
Yeah, it was decently satisfying. I was happy with some of the comments that I saw and that. I was happy that my coach was happy with how I performed and everything, but I still feel like I want more. I still feel like a little bit of underdog, or like I'm not really seen as much as I should be in the division, and so there's that chip on my shoulder that I'm ready to show everybody what the deal is.
Was this the right amount of time off in between fights?
Yeah, I really like this time off, this amount of time, and I did have my third son. Well, he was born.
That's right, I saw that. Congrats, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, he was born before the last one. Sometime around, I'd have to do the math. Timing gets crazy, but during this time, he's really grown out of like the real baby stage and stuff. And so, my wife is a G. She's handling all three of them a lot of the times, but she can manage that. So it was really good timing for me to really kick up the training another notch. So.
Good for you, man. 3 kids. I got 2 now, and it's a challenge. So I commend you and your wife for getting it done, man. That's awesome. Let's talk about John Castañeda, another sort of guy that I'm sure you're familiar with on the regional scene even before he got in the UFC. How do you feel like you match up against him here? 18-5 record.
I think it's a really good matchup. I think it's a fan friendly matchup. He's a stockier, shorter guy that's not afraid to throw down, but also has good wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So. I think the matchup is a really fun one for fans, and me personally, I feel like I have the edge in a couple different areas and small spaces and spots. So I'm looking forward to exposing those.
Your camp, I know who you train with. You train with some of the best guys and a lot of UFC guys. I just spoke to Ocho the other day, Steven Peterson. I know he's getting ready for his fight as well. Who've been some of the main guys this camp? We talked about your brother. I'm sure you were working with him as well.
Yeah, he's a southpaw, and then we got another guy, Ian. He just has one pro fight. He's a good southpaw. I've been working with him a lot. Fernie Garcia helps me out a ton, but it's all just like even the guys that are heavier, moving around with Jeff and stuff. It's all just a team effort, man. Like everybody's just grinding right now. It's fight season. We got a ton of fights coming up within the next 2 months. So I love the energy. Everybody's just here working, putting in extra extra training sessions. You know, I see people doing mitts. I'm like, oh, I see you over there. Like people kind of secretly trying to get their sessions in and get the edge over their teammate. And I love that, man. I love the competitiveness in here, all working towards a common goal for us all to grow. So it's been good. Fight camps are kind of becoming more normal for me. It's kind of just normal life. Once I do my medicals and I do a couple other things, and I'm like, oh yeah, you are about to fight in a couple weeks. But before that, I'm just focused on what my job is, what the game plan is, and working on it, and don't really think too much like I used to about, oh, it's a fight, and get all crazy like that. It's just kind of the normal thing, you know. I'm just in fight camp. I'm doing my thing, training hard, and that's it.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Coach Safe, my strength and conditioning coach, Mike Scastaeda, and my brother Elijah.
And I know
Coach Mike helped me out a ton. I gotta say, I have a Coach Safe's MMA head coach, and he sees over everything, the game plans and all that. Of course, we got our training partners, but Coach Mike has helped me so much in my footwork and my strength, and finding that knockout touch, I think, has a lot to do with the training that we've been doing over there.
Love the shout out. I think that's great, man. I know you feel like you're going to get your hand raised, otherwise why sign the contract, but how do you envision the fight playing out on February 5th?
I envision a finish. I do. And I used to not try to envision that because sometimes I'd get a little wild back in the day looking for that finish. But these two last knockouts have really made me confident, and that I just keep growing in my ability to put people to sleep, you know, and finding my holes and finding my openings. And I really think that once we start mixing it up, I could find the button and put them out.
We talked about it there, you know, having the right amount of time off in between fights. What's sort of an ideal schedule for you this year? Would it be 3 fights, 2 fights? I mean, you just mentioned, you know, having the newborn and all that. Like, what would be an ideal schedule for you in 2022?
If I could fight 3 times in 2022, I think that'd be awesome. You know, I'm fighting early in the year, so it's definitely doable. Really, I've been only fighting 1 time a year, but like if you look at the calendar year, so if I could pull 3 in and then be top 15 starting 2023, that'd be beautiful.
Do you think if you get another finish here that you'll start getting those notable opponents, maybe even a ranked guy, just because, again, your record, I think people forget, you've got 1 loss, you're 12-1. That's a really good record in that weight class.
Yeah, I slipped on a banana peel 1 time. You know, it happens, even to the grades, GSP, in the same place too, Houston. And then I got to go back to Houston and redeem it exactly like GSP. But I think I get the finish in this one. I'll probably have 1 more against, the division's so stacked, you know, and everybody's just right there. There's no like outliners or people that are way better than anybody. It's just, we're all bundled up right here. So I think if I get 1 more knockout, set myself apart a little bit, and then 1 more win after that, I'll probably get a top 15, maybe a top 15 after this one. That'd be awesome. But, you know, I'm always trying to be real with myself in that. Probably 1 more after this. How
many more fights do you have left in your contract? Do you know?
I just signed the new contract.
It must be a Fortis thing. I know Peterson was telling me the same thing with his fight coming up here. So that's great. And I assume that Safe also handles your fights as well, like he does with everyone else at your gym, it seems.
Yeah, he does. There's only a couple people who doesn't do, but like most everybody, he does, and he's been doing mine since the beginning, and super grateful for that. He does a good job.
Well, it's easier, right? You don't have the middleman. You can just, you know, coach knows what's up. If you're ready to go, if you're healthy or whatever, it's probably easier for everyone involved, right? And I think, you know, who knows you better than your coach, right?
Right. I'm a little bit too spoiled. I never have to deal with the manager or anything like that. My coach handles everything. So yeah, it's awesome.
Good to hear, man. That's awesome. I know the result wasn't what everyone wanted, but Jaron Williams getting that boxing fight. What did you think of that? You know, obviously he's a guy that's been with your gym since the beginning. What was it like getting to see him compete?
Man, I was so proud of him. He was a dog in there, you know, like, and that's what the world wanted to see. That's what we wanted to see. I mean, you saw the commentator was a ex NFL player and stuff, and he was kind of saying how NFL was so tough in that. But middle of the fight, he kind of switches gears and like, oh, come on, this is supposed to be boxing. We're not putting blah blah. I mean, yeah, it's a fight. You know, it's a fight. It's an expedition, but we both came to fight and win. And Darren showed that he's been working hard and that he still has that dog inside of him. And yeah, I was proud of his performance.
Miles, always a pleasure, man. Appreciate the time. February 5th, UFC Fight Night. Don't miss it. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Just follow me on Instagram, guys, Miles Chapo Johns, and everything you need to know will be there.